Yeah, yeah. Man, y'all already know what time it is. What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's great? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. I am your host, Ashley Lovechild. I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in every Sunday, every Wednesday at 10:30. Y'all already know the business. If this is your first time tapping in, we talk about everything here. We talk about hip hop. We talk about all music in general entertainment, social commentary, everything, stuff that happens on the internet, every single thing we get to it and we have fun with it. Barbershop style. And like I said, we're going to get to it. This is episode 219. That's a lot of episodes, y'all. But I have a passion for this thing and a great time talking with y'all each and every episode. Shout out to the chat. We got the chat in here early in the building. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Let me get a quick rundown of the chat real quick. Shout out to Shay in the building. Shout out to King P in the building. Shout out to Hazel in the building. You already know. Hey Ash in the chat. Shout out to Winter in the building. The loyal crew. We in here. Shout out to I think I said Tremont already. Shout out to Tremont. You're Brooklyn BK in the building. Shout out to Ebony in the building. Uh, just made it. Hey everyone. Okay. Shout out to I think I shout out to King P already. It's all love. Shout out to my cousin Leaf in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. Y'all already know the business, man. What's up, family? What it do? Man, miss you, brother. Keep holding it down out there in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing your thing. But y'all, I thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Don't forget that them likes hit the 100s. It helps with the growth of the show as well. And as we continue to grow each and every episode, we're on the road to 20,000 subs. We're a little over 12,000. So continue to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that all notification bell. There's memberships. Take advantage of the memberships, y'all. Different memberships do get granted different access. All right, hey, we got one of our longest badge holders in the building. We got one of our day ones, Rowan Jack, in the building. You already know what it is. Rowan Jack, my guy, appreciate you for tapping in. I don't know if you up for it, Rowan Jack, but if you up for it, you could be you could be a mod tonight if you up for it. You know what I'm saying? Only if you up for it. But shout out to Rowan Jack, one of our longest supporters of the pod, man. So shout out to Roman Jack. All right, y'all. Shout out to the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is OUV Records and Button Snaps. But the presenting sponsor is actually Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, in the word snaps.com. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, in the word snaps.com. Also, like I said, be on the lookout for some new music. I'm trying to find better ways to getting you this new music because I no longer want to go through the Spotify and the Apple route due to their new update. And it's just not beneficial to us as artists. And it's not a great listening experience for y'all as listeners. Also, working on a new comic book and animation. So be on the lookout for that as well. And y'all already know how I do. The only op we recognize over here is opportunity. We celebrate life culture over here. Hate has a location, but it's just not here. So bring that love, light, and energy. Do not be a stain. A stain is somebody that tries to stand out for being negative. Have the ability to stand out for being positive. My dog Rowan Jack. You could call me Conductor Jack. I'm here. Punch the ticket. I Rowan Jack. Bet. Got my dog Rowan Jack. He gonna be doing some he gonna be one of the mods. And I got my dog holding it down for me. Appreciate you because each and every episode, if this is your first time tapping in, I get the ones that pull in, say, do weird things all episode. And it's not the pod for that. You know what I'm saying? We over here having a good time, and we do it in a respectful way. We get serious, and we also have fun, talk about entertainment, and also, you know what I'm saying? Keep the drama away from us. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Yo, no further ado. Let's get this thing started. First segment of the night, popular opinions. This segment is brought to you by none other than OUV Records. Make sure you go to Instagram at OUV Records and stay in tune to the latest music and merchandise. The label motto is create, document, and inspire. Quick shout out to Rowan Jack again for becoming one of the mods, and he just gave some gifteds. He just gifted the pod with 5 memberships. So shout out to Rowan Jack, always supporting, always showing love, light, and energy to the pod as always, and well appreciated. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And hey, we got some people that should be sending some thank yous your way. Ryan Anthony, super view channel, play a Michelle, Mabel, and Vic. Some memberships came your way, all in courtesy of Rowan Jack, man. Thanks again, my brother. All right, y'all. First segment of the night, popular opinions. Remember, y'all, these are not my questions. These are the world's questions. So stick to the answers in the questions. All in their prime. NFL question. All in their prime. Which quarterback are you starting your franchise with? Which quarterback are you starting your franchise with? All in their prime. Number 1, Troy Aikman. Number 2, Ben Roethlisberger. Number 3, Steve Young. Number 4, Warren Moon. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. All these quarterbacks are great in my opinion. When I think of all of these guys, Troy Aikman was a hell of a player. He won Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger, he won some Super Bowls. And Ben Roethlisberger was more like a playground type of style, type of quarterback, in my opinion. Steve Young, hellified quarterback, played behind Joe Montana. Joe Montana got hurt. He basically never gave the job up. They had to trade Joe Montana to my Chiefs, and the rest was history for both players. And Joe Montana was already a legend before he got traded. And then you got Warren Moon. Warren Moon, great player, great arm, athletic, and that arm is just outstanding. You know what I'm saying? So, out of all of these quarterbacks, for me, based on their playing style, based on their energy, based on how they was doing out there, me personally, I gotta go with Steve Young. The lefty, he could run, he could pass, had the strong arm, and he had accuracy, and he could run the ball. He just know how to scramble, extend plays, and run 20, 30-yard touchdowns. So I'm going with Steve Young. So for me, it's Steve Young. In the chat, I'm seeing Troy Aikman. I'm seeing Ben Roethlisberger. Like I said, I don't think there's no wrong answers. I think it's all become preference and how you want your quarterback to be. And remember, this is all in their primes. So again, I went with Steve Young. The chat went with either Troy Aikman or Ben Roethlisberger. The rest of the world at 35%, my job, over 48,000 people voted on this, went with Troy Aikman. I'm not mad at that. Troy Aikman is a winner. So, but Ben Roethlisberger won him a Super Bowl or 2. Steve Young won about 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. I think Warren Moon is the only quarterback that didn't win a championship being the starting quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. But all of these guys are great quarterbacks, all of them. So again, I had to go with Steve Young. You know what I'm saying? Steve Young used to just be killing the game on the 49ers. Shout out to DM in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. I think it was 1998 that Steve Young led the Niners squad. Was the best offense I ever saw. Wow. Yo, I don't think people realize how great Steve Young was, because you got to remember, that 49er team was led by Joe Montana. Joe Montana won, 4 Super Bowls with the 49ers? And when he had his injury, Steve Young was just like waiting, like, yo, I'm over here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, he came over from Tampa Bay. Like, yo, I'm over here, baby, and never gave that spot up. That's how good Steve Young was. It was like, yo, Joe, we're gonna have to trade you, dog. We're gonna have to trade you. And mind you, my Chiefs benefited from it, you know what I'm saying? But Steve Young, man, that was a solid team. But I remember Steve Young, the version of the 49ers with Steve Young, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Deion Sanders, McDonald, Merton Hanks, Eric Davis. I believe that was Brent Jones, Ricky Waters. Ricky Waters was very underrated, a running back that could run for 1,000, catch for 1,000 yards in the season. They was loaded. William Floyd, I believe, was their fullback. They had a squad, and that offensive line and that D line was crazy. He said Roger Craig. Roger Craig was another one. The San Francisco 49ers, if y'all do y'all history, right? The San Francisco 49ers have a history of having running backs that would catch for 1,000 and run for 1,000. Roger Craig was the first to do it. Roger Craig, then Ricky Waters. Then they had another guy between, I think before Roger Craig, that used to rush for a whole bunch of yards, but Roger Craig, Ricky Waters, and now Christian McCaffrey. Three different eras that guys could run for 1,000 and catch for 1,000 yards. So, that says a lot about their franchise. That they kind of, each era they would get like a different type of guy. You know what I mean? So, shout out to the 49ers for that. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next popular opinion question. Favorite hip hop trio on this list. Favorite hip hop trio on this list. Number one, De La Soul. Number two, Migos. Number three, Run DMC. Number four, A Tribe Called Quest. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, favorite hip hop trios on this list. Number one, De La Soul. Number two, Migos. Number three, Run DMC. Run DMC. Number four, A Tribe Called Quest. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. You know what's funny? When you do the history of hip hop, there's a lot of two mans and there's a lot of like groups, right? There's not a lot of trios like that. You know what I mean? Like, and if there's a trio, you don't find many trios that all of them rap. Like in the 90s, there was a lot of trios where one would rap, one would be like kind of like the dancer, the fashion guy, and the other would be like the producer or the DJ. So you didn't find many like really 3-man trios that was just like rappers for real. So I found it interesting. So when you think of Run DMC, you think of A Tribe Called Quest, you think of Migos, De La Soul, or legendary groups. I don't think there's a wrong answer to any of these, in my opinion. For my personal preference, I'm probably gonna say Migos. I'm probably gonna go with Migos because all three of them was dope, but all three of them have their own superpower within the group. Probably my favorite Migo out of everybody is probably Takeoff. His ability to really rap and his style and cadence. Takeoff was a really underrated rapper in my estimation. But as far as legendary, De La, all of these are legendary. Run DMC is the quintessential 3-man trio. You can't talk about trios without Run DMC in the history. If it wasn't for Run DMC, there would be none of these groups after that. A Tribe Called Quest did it in their own way, where they wasn't trying to be gangster. They was three guys from Queens, and just everyday regular smuggler that guys that could rap. Um, De La Soul, another fire hip hop group that everybody gets busy, but you felt like the melodic vibe to De La Soul as far as like their hooks and their melodies, even though they rapping. So in the chat, I saw Run DMC. I've seen Migos in the chat. Shout out to Ebony, Rowan Jackson, Run DMC. Right now, Hendrix Demons has met my favorite trio, and I got two daughters. I never heard of Huntrix Demons. Demon. That's probably like K-pop or Demon Hunters. Okay, Demon Hunters. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah. So I people keep telling me about the K-pop. I gotta see what K-pop is all about. I tried getting into Demon Hunters, but I just couldn't get into Demon Hunters. But I'm gonna still try. I'm gonna still try. So again, I went with Migos. The chat I seen a mix between Run DMC and De La Soul. The rest of the world at 36%. These are close, like close votes, by the way. 36%. Mind you, 71,000 people voted for this. Went with De La Soul. They went with De La Soul at 71%. Shout out to the Chaz. He said Wu Tang, but you gotta remember Wu Tang is not a three man. It's not a three man. We talking about favorite hip hop trio. So just the three man. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang. That's what I'm saying. When we do the knowledge on hip hop, right? There's not a lot of trio, just a three-man group that raps. You know what I'm saying? We've always had, the duo, or we've had like mega groups. You know what I mean? Like we've had four, we had five, we got nine. Wu-Tang has nine. You know what I'm saying? But we have four, we got five. You think of uh my goodness, straight out of Compton, them what's their name again? I know their name. It's escaping me because I'm live right now. But y'all know what I'm talking about. The straight out of Compton crew. Um we just had a whole lot of groups and they haven't been three-man trios. I'm kind of embarrassed I can't think of the name right now. NWA. Thank you, bro. And the name is right there, but when I'm on live sometime, the thing I always remember, I forget the easiest like that. So I'm glad y'all looking out for me. So yeah, so like NWA, we've had a lot of dope fire groups that wasn't three-man trios. And then when we look at the real tree man or three-man, they really wasn't a trio. It was, like I said, one person would rap, the other person would work on the beat, and like the other person would be like a dancer, or like they was like their stylist or something like that, and they threw them in a group. There wasn't a lot of trios that really rap. The only other trio that I could think of that really wasn't a trio was probably like I can't even say G Unit was a trio because they wasn't. You got Banks, you got 50, you got Buck, and then of course you had Game, you got uh Tony Yayo, like so they not a trio. Uh TLC, but TLC they R&B to me. Like they hip hop and R&B, but they R&B though. You know what I'm saying? Like there hasn't been a lot of three artists that rap. Another one that was probably left out of this, and again, y'all, these are not my questions; these are the world questions. Is the Fugees, right? The Fugees. I love the Fugees, but the Fugees had what, maybe one or two albums? I believe they had two albums, if I'm not mistaken. But the Fugees could have been on this list. The Fugees could have been on this, but actually, no, they couldn't. No, they couldn't because you're not going to replace the Fugees with Run DMC. Without Run DMC, there's no other group. So that's not even, I'm not debating nobody else. Migos have too many albums to swap. De La Soul, too many albums to swap. Tribe Called Quest, too many albums to swap. So, uh, yeah, I keep saying R&B groups. He said TLC, SWV. I saying R&B groups. Remember, we talking about hip hop. We talking about hip hop. How many was in Bone? And Bone Thug had at least like eight. They had at least like eight. Lazy Bone, Busy Bone, Triple Bone. Like it was a lot of bones. Wishbone. It was a lot of bones. Pause. I would say it was like at least six. It was at least like six. It was at least six. It was at least six. But Bone Thugs and Harmony had quite a few. So that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of trios. You know what I'm saying? When you think of Public Enemy, right? You think of, obviously you think of Flavor Flav, but you think of my goodness, another name that's escaping me right now, but I know the name when I hear it. Chuck D. You think of Chuck D and you think of Flavor Flav. they didn't have another guy that was in, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have the other guy, you know what I mean? So we've always had duos and like kind of like mega groups. It was always like four, five, six. It really wasn't like trios like that. Um, I'm not gonna put like the leaders of the new school on this list, even though they was talented. They only had one album. So, but yeah. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment. Hollywood need to ask us. Hollywood need to ask us. So my Hollywood need to ask us for this episode, and I came up with this segment because Hollywood don't give us enough original ideas or even reprise movies that we really care about for real. They just be reprising things for cash grab and no type of love and no type of real interest. So I would love to see a movie uh, based on, well, here's the movie idea. I would say it like this. The movie idea would be a lawyer having to defend the first AI charged with murder, right? So this would be somewhat of like a thriller, sci-fi-ish type of thing where AI is such a big thing now. Now, what if we lived in a world where AI, the use of AI, is actually being charged with murder? So it's basically like civil rights meeting the technology age, the digital age. So that's my keep the lie alive, and I'll keep the lie alive. That's my Hollywood need to ask us. So the show or the movie would be called The Sovereign Cause, and I think that go hand in hand with AI and with our present law system. So I think that would be a dope show. Well, actually, it wouldn't be a movie. It will be a movie series, so it'll be a show. Like I said, it'll be sci-fi-ish, thriller-ish, rated R. We gotta have, we're gonna push the lines on this. You know what I mean? We want to push the lines on this. I will have actors. My foundational actors for the show would be Amari Hardrick, Patina Miller, Jeff Daniels, and Viola Davis for this show. I think this would be fire. And then the director, I can't go with nobody other than Dick Wolf for this show. I think this show, with him on this show, with these actors and that idea, I think people would love to see this. So, like I said, I would rather see a movie series based on this, giving you movie quality, them really good 45-minute, 55-minute shows. You know what I mean? And giving you about, instead of 10 episodes, give us a 12 episode season with this format, and I think this would absolutely be a home run hitter. Uh, After the WB deal, we might have to change the segment to Netflix. Yo, Rowan, that's a fact. I spoke about that last episode, how they got bought out. Netflix needs to ask us, because Netflix is buying up everything out here. That is a fact, Roman Jack. That is a fact. Netflix out here is buying everything. So we may have to rechange the segment to that. The AI is played by Terry Crews. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. So Terry Crews gonna be the voice? Oh man, that's funny. But I think this will be a dope and fire series, movie series based on today's landscape. They saying AI is taking over everything as far as visuals, as far as music, as far as in our everyday life, we depend on AI. So what if we lived in a world where AI was actually charged for murder? Because we given so many intellectual properties to AI, what if we found ourselves in a situation where this will be the first of its time? So I think this will be interesting and a fun, it's a lot of avenues to write this show. So yeah, so that's my Hollywood need to ask us for this episode. A shout out to Ebony. That sounds dope as F, Ashley. Appreciate that, Ebony. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment, our must see segment, must see movies. Y'all know I'm gonna give y'all 3 must see fire movies to tap into. I do it each and every episode. So my first must see movie Came out 2007, directed by Jennifer Harper. This movie stars Alan Payne, Elise Neal, Anthony C. Hall, Tretch, Salisa Smith, and MC Light. This movie is called Players Ball. Fire, must see movie about an NBA player, and he just got a new contract, and he's figuring out who is in his circle, and you have to watch the rest of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you, so make sure you tap in to see Players Ball. Next must-see movie came out 1993, directed by Steve Rash. This movie stars Pauly Shore, Carla Gugino, Lane Smith, Patrick Renner, Cindy Pickett, Mason Adams, and Mason Adams. This movie is called Son-in-Law. Funny movie, and it is a must see. This movie is about a young lady in her first year in college. She meets a new friend, and you have to watch the rest of the movie. Like I said, I'm not here to spoil it for you. And third and final must see movie came out 1992, directed by Robert Mandel. This movie stars Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Chris O'Donnell, Cole Hauser, and Amy Locan. This movie is called School Ties. Another fire must-see movie about a young man who's a superstar in football, is asked to go to a specialized high school, and you have to watch the rest of the movie. Again, fire must-see movie. So my three must-see movies for this episode 219 is Players Ball, Son-in-Law, and School Ties. Make sure y'all tap into these movies. Again, it's Wednesday night. You got the rest of the week to tap in. Watch them. Come back on Sunday. Let me know what y'all think of the movies, and we'll talk about them. So make sure y'all tap into those movies. All right, y'all. Moving on to our must hear. You know I'm gonna give y'all a dope must hear artist each and every episode. So my profile artist for this episode. Again, y'all know my criteria, whether it's new or old, whether it's hip hop or R&B. I'm gonna give y'all some fire music. So my profile artist for this episode is Midnight Star, the R&B group Midnight Star. Put these three songs on your playlist. Number one, Curious. Number two, Wet My Whistle. Number three, Slow Jam. Make sure y'all put those three songs on y'all playlist by the group Midnight Star. Again, number one, Curious. Number two, Wet My Whistle. And number three, Slow Jam. Make sure y'all put those three songs on y'all playlist. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. I send them to Turkey or nah segment. Y'all know the rules of the game. We send people to Turkey because they do and say crazy things, and should they go to Turkey because Turkey has some of the craziest laws we've ever heard of. So it's an inside joke of the show. We either send people to Turkey or not. So type in T to send them to Turkey. Type them in not to send them to Turkey. First one of the night. Send them to Turkey or nah. Studies have shown that most culture programming focus on entertainment and not representation. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, studies have shown most cultured programming focus on entertainment and not representation. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. And for those who don't know, I substitute the word black for culture because that's not what we are. We're not 3/5 of a human being or 3/5 of a person. So I don't like using the word black because that's not what it is. So, and it's a whole nother conversation that I would love to get into, but later on. So that's why I say culture instead of black. So let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. So y'all saying no, y'all saying don't send into Turkey. For me, when I see this study, I'm going to send it to Turkey. I'm going to send it to Turkey because it matters that we have representation, proper representation in the things that we watch. It matters. When I watch a show, and if it's a show about the cultured experience, I don't want it to be watered down. Now, all culture experience is not monolithic. we all don't come from the hood. We all don't come from a great background. We all don't love hip hop. We all have different experiences within the culture. So when there is shows about the culture, I would love to see different experiences. Like the '90s, for example. The '90s was such a great age for the culture community because we had different representation. We had the Cosbys, where I didn't know many people that came from affluent backgrounds and their kids was balanced and not over the top like privilege, right? They didn't live in that privilege, right? But you also have representations like Martin, where life was kind of hard and you had to get it out the mud. You also had other representations like Living Single, where you had young educated young people that was all doing different things in the professional space. Then you had other shows like South Central. For those who don't remember South Central, it was rough, it was tough, and it showed how rough it was in those neighborhoods. You had shows like Moesha, where you had middle class and living in LA and being able to navigate. You had shows like Steve Harvey, where it was a struggle, and working in Chicago. So you had different representation, different experience. But the beautiful part about it is that they all have the ability to be entertaining. Not one of those shows wasn't a hit. Not one of those shows wasn't entertaining. So the fact that there are more studies showing that they're creating shows for us that is more based on entertainment instead of representation is part of the reason why there's such a disconnect in a lot of the shows that we have out now. Most people would rather watch what they call that, a real TV or live TV or whatever the case may be, opposed to sitcoms. And growing up, I love sitcoms. Sitcoms to me is still the best TV that you could ever watch, because there's themes and redeeming qualities and characters. There's a whole bunch of different parameters that you play with on a sitcom, opposed to Love and Hip Hop, where the only real theme you get from Love and Hip Hop is ratchetness. There's no love on Love and Hip Hop, what makes it even more like ironic of a show. There's no love, right? Um, but you find more love on shows like Growing Up with Hip Hop, where you see, people are still with their, spouse from when their careers, was at their height. They have children that grew up with balance, and so we got more shows that's based in entertainment. So I'm gonna send it to Turkey based on that. The chat. We got not send it to Turkey. We got send it to Turkey. I think we could do both. The Boondocks. The Boondocks is another great show. Uh, but the Boondocks just has a balance of not only being entertaining, but those characters are written vastly different on purpose to show a different type of cultured experience and what we see within that experience. So on the Boondocks, they experience the same thing at one time, but there's vastly different characters. Huey would have one response, or Riley would have another. Tom would have a whole nother response. Uncle Ruckus would. Granddad would have a different response. Even little Jazzy would have a different response. Ed Wunsler. So that's what makes it so beautiful. And I said Ed Wunsler like he was a brother, but y'all get the point that I'm making as far as like the different angles of the culture experience. So yeah, so the Boondocks is another one as well too. So I don't believe that shows in this day and age, in order for it to be successful, it's only supposed to be entertaining. No, it could have representation and be just as entertaining, if not more. Because when characters sit with people, that makes the show better. When we could really sit with the characters, that's what makes it a whole lot better. Even other shows that didn't have a lot of representation of brothers, right? I think of a show like Saved by the Bell. Growing up, I love Saved by the Bell. The reason why I love Saved by the Bell because I thought Zach was hella cool. I thought AC Slater was hella cool. And between the both, was kind of like I could see myself in both of them. AC Slater, the athlete. I grew up an athlete. Boxing, football, basketball. I grew up an athlete. But I always mess with Zach too because like, yo, I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm hollering at the ladies. I'm trying to see what the ladies doing. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, baby? You know, so I seen myself in both characters. So representation and entertainment can go hand in hand and it makes for a better show. So I'm gonna send that to Turkey, being that they only leaning on entertainment. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next. Send them to Turkey or nah. Send them to Turkey or nah. The MTA is deploying. I'm sorry, the New York City. The MTA is deploying fare enforcement agents solely across the New York City subway stations, and that's to crack down on fare evasion. Um, in 2024, New York City has lost $918 million due to fare evasion. So let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Are we sending New York City to Turkey or nah? Are we sending New York City to Turkey or nah? Me personally, when I see this, the MTA fuels the traveling system for New York City. And New York City is one of those places you literally don't need a car. You could get any and everywhere with MTA, whether you're on the train or whether you're on the bus. There's no place that those places don't go for the most part. At all. Like there's no place that doesn't go. It's going to hit every part. Trains don't go exactly everywhere, but it would take you to a place where you could catch a bus and you could hit the local. But fear evasion in New York City is kind of like laughable to me because at the end of the day, they are raising the rates and have been raising the rates. That is so crazy for the average person that's on MTA taking these fares. They overpricing people. So what do you think people are going to do when you're overpricing them? And even though you always going to have fare evasion, no matter how much or how little it costs, but if it's more reasonable, you're going to find less people that's going to do fare evasion. You're going to see less people not jumping over the turnstile. And what makes it even more weird, I always thought that there was some remnants of I forget the exact cop they call it, or transit cops, that they always had some sort of transit presence in the train station. So I always thought it was quite funny that if you hop the train, you may or may not get stopped by a policeman. But I realize they're not always assigned, and you don't have that many police officers in New York City where you just could assign them to to transit. So I just thought that was quite interesting. I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off, like because of what I just said. They don't have enough police officers to cover all of this. Now they may do main stations such like 34th Street, 42nd Street, 14th Street, main stations like that, Flatbush Avenue, what's another main, Fulton Street. Like, so there's Utica mainstays that they probably do this at. So I know they're trying to get their money on, but it would be better if they lowered the fares. They continue to keep raising it. I remember when I was a kid, it was as low as like $1 at one point. And then when they went to 125, New York City, we went crazy. Like 125, like what's happening? Like what we doing? So everywhere you look around to get around in New York City, it just continues to go up and up. I remember cabs used to be $1 where you catch $1 cab. Now it's like $2.50 or $3.50. It's no longer the same. So it's just quite interesting that New York City is deploying this type of manpower just for fare evasion. $918 million. sounds real sexy and it sounds like a lot of money, which it is, but I don't think it's that amount. I don't think it's nowhere near that amount, to be honest with you. But they say it is, and I'm gonna send them the turkey based on that, me personally. Shout out to Ebony. I thought they had them already. Still T, meaning turkey. Okay, New York City makes money hand over fist. That's a fact. That's a fact. New York City is not strapped for cash. Never been strapped for cash. Don't let New York City fool you. Like, think about it. If millions of people take the fare every day, even though there's people that do fare evade, you still have millions of people paying the fare. So they're making billions. So what are we talking about? And people who run that are powerful people as far as that runs transit and MTA. So these are powerful people that we're talking about here, and they already made billions. So I call it cap that they actually doing this to evade, to get people that's evaded. They just really want more action and create more money for the city because the people that they catch, they're going to write tickets on the spot. You're not going to go to jail. They don't want to fill up the jail for traffic, but they want to write more tickets. And that's the base of what I'm talking about. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And New York City already got the money. And so be careful. Don't fare evade. They're going to be out there looking for y'all at the top of the year. Shout out to the chat. Don't forget that them likes, hit the 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time to rap. This segment is brought to you by Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's the word Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. All right, y'all. First hot topic of the night. And this is a question. Shout out to Roman Jack. New York will be taxing extra to overcome no tax on tips. But see, here's my thing regarding that, right? New York City has been making billions of dollars for a long time. All this stuff that they doing is really, this is their way of bleeding the city dry. Like at this point, if you haven't grown up in New York City, you have no reason to live there for real. Like I don't see how New York City is attractive for people that have never lived in New York City. I don't see how it's attractive. It's dirty, it's funky. It's dirty and it's funky. And it's more dirty and it's funky and it's expensive. And what makes it expensive is not necessarily the housing or the rent, which is expensive, but it's everything in between that. There's the food. There's if you have a vehicle, parking, uh, um, you know, and parking, whether you're home or whether you're looking for a parking spot, you could get tickets, parking tickets, all types of stuff. It just everything is like one big hassle in New York City. Even when you have to pay your car insurance, that's a whole nother ball game to have a car in New York City. So, it's just very expensive all over, all around. So I don't see what's attractive about it, even though I grew up, born and raised in New York City, in Brooklyn. But I don't see what would make somebody move to New York City. I see why people move to Florida. I see why, or the reason why people will move to Texas or Alabama or Mississippi. I see the reason why. Cheaper housing, easier to attain it, not so congested. You could spread your wings a little bit, get that bit of that fresh air, great weather in Florida all year round. Texas has some good weather all year round. So I see the allure. You know what I mean? But New York City, like I said, it's dirty, it's funky. We got more rats than probably anywhere in the world. Um, we got more. I'll say we got more rats than people. I don't think we have the most rats in the world. I think Chicago is beating us, but New York City, we definitely got more rats than people. So I don't see what the allure is. Rowan Jack, you was retarded. You was retarded. He said, "Big booty Latinos." You are stupid, bro. You are stupid, bro. You get that anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You go to Miami, there's a plethora of that. You know what I'm saying? There's a plethora of that. In Orlando, a plethora of that. You know what I mean? It's a plethora. You go to Texas, you go somewhere like Houston, there's a plethora of that. San Antonio, a plethora of that. You know what I'm saying? Austin, a plethora of that. You know what I'm saying? You get that everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Each and every state is a plethora of big booties. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you though, but you know what I mean? He's so stupid. All right, so my first hot topic question is: did the Diddy scandal affect hip hop as a whole? Pause. Or just him and his legacy? So let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, did the Diddy scandal affect hip hop as a whole, or just him and his legacy, meaning Diddy? Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. I thought about this question because obviously big figures in the hip hop industry, when they speak on it as if it's the whole thing, that it's a complete representation. But Diddy in particular, he's been a main or one of the main facets in hip hop, I would say ever since the early 90s. So it's been a while, early to mid, I'll say early to mid 90s, like 94, 90, 93, 94. So like early to mid 90s till now. That's a long time. We're talking about 30 years. So when you speak of Diddy, hip hop is automatically thrown in the mix as a genre because that's the culture that he represents. And believe it or not, hip hop is a culture. It is a subculture. So was it a stain on the culture in itself, or just Diddy and his legacy? Uh Bro, Jack, you stupid. You stupid. Ebony, great question, but honestly, I think it just affects him. Okay. For me, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think it does affect him and only him. Only because hip hop right now, we're just in a new space in music. If we wasn't in a new space in music, it will completely be the face of hip hop or be on hip hop. Mainly because we're going into an era now where we're playing in complete different rules. We just came out of the streaming era. We currently still in the streaming era, but the streaming era has been around now for at least the last 20 years, where everything was streaming. But 20 years ago, we just left, well, the CD era, right? So 20 years ago, we had the CDs. Now we had the streaming era. So because 20 years ago, that streaming era, it was the introduction of the internet and how the internet plays a part in the music industry. I think that's the reason why his scandal and all the misfortunes of Diddy as of right now falls on him and him only, and not of hip hop. And that's the reason why. Shout out to Patrick in the building. What's up, my dude? One of our badge holders in the building. One of our other mods in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in, Patrick. But yeah, so that's why I see it that way. I see it that his scandals as of right now fall directly on P. Diddy. Now, mind you, P. Diddy has done a lot for hip hop in the sense of giving a lot of people opportunity where they wouldn't have any opportunity. Now, some people will say, what's the use of opportunity when you, I guess, the knock is that Diddy, uh, I'm trying to find the right word, the proper word. He ended up on a better end financially and business wise than a lot of his artists. My only kickback to that is that as an artist, you're an adult. Nobody held a gun to your head to make you sign no deals. You got you a lawyer, and you made a decision based on what other people would think on your deal. And what that means is most artists, especially in the 90s, sign these terrible deals with the mindset from other artists saying your first deal is always going to be your worst deal. That's just a part of the industry. If you know this, then you're culpable in your own bad business. You can't say that another man got the best of you in business knowing that you signed a bad contract. You have to take accountability for that. And you also had a lawyer that went over your contract and said, yeah, this was cool for you. So again, accountability matters. So again, P. Diddy did put a lot of artists on that wouldn't normally get put on by any other labels for real. Because of that machine that he created, that energy, that boost. If you was popping with Bad Boy at one point in time, it was like you ran the world. At least in my eyes, as a little kid in New York City. When I first seen Total, when I first seen Biggie Smalls, when I first seen Faith Evans, Little Kim, it was like they were superheroes. The music was so fire. When I first seen Mace, superhero. Locks, like they was like superheroes. And he put a lot of people on. But because of these things, I think this only affects him regardless of that. So again, he did a lot for hip hop. He put a lot of people on. He created businesses, and him creating businesses created positions for other people, whether it's in the label, whether it's in the clothing lane, whether it's in the alcohol community. He created a lot of jobs, and a lot of people benefited. And then also, a lot of people benefited for being associated with P. Diddy. Because let's keep it real. It was at one point in time, especially 20 years ago, if you wasn't signed to a P. Diddy, a Rock Nation, or Rockefeller, or Murder Inc., a G Unit, as an artist, you was not deemed successful. You was deemed as a struggle artist. You not with nobody great, bro. You by yourself as the independent. So how are you nice? How are you a good rapper? How are you a good singer? When people used to say, yeah, I'm signed to Bad Boy. You see me with Diddy, and people will open up the door for you. So for that same door that will open for you, you can't shit on it now because that door don't benefit you 20 years later. It benefited you at one point in time that you was happy to go through that door to. So at the end of the day, it's all one and the same. You can't accept something in a loss that you won't accept in a victory. So at the end of the day, y'all was on that. And y'all was happy to be on that. Like, yo, you doing big things. I seen you with P. Diddy. So he did a lot for the hip hop community regarding that avenue. Shout out to Maria in the building. Appreciate you tapping in, Maria. Y'all already know, hit them likes, hit the 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. Maria doing her thing with New Edition on tour. You already know. To Rowan Jack. Hey, New Edition. Does Diddy still have the Ciroc deal? They should cut ties with him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he still has that deal, but there was a point in time where, again, if you was associated with Diddy, you was associated with success. So now that the tide has changed for Diddy, these same people talking about, oh yeah, he gave me a bad deal, but you knew it was a bad deal. You read the contract. You even got a lawyer to look at your contract. And you was happy to stand with him, rocking with him in the videos. And then all of a sudden, you don't know the contract. You're not grown enough and old enough to have control over your own affairs, self accountability. So again, he did a lot for a lot of people. He put a lot of people on. But again, his actions is a stain on him and not of hip hop in itself. Only because hip hop is in the state that it is in right now. We're just in a complete different era and state that we are. We don't even depend on gatekeepers to give us the music anymore. We don't depend on that. You could go on your internet, go on your Instagram, go on your TikTok, see an artist that you never heard of before, and be like, damn, this song is fire. And then you just go down a rabbit hole and listen to more of their music, and then you become a fan. So we not in that era no more where we depend on gatekeepers. So like I said, I think his misfortunes fall directly on P. Diddy. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. Beyonce. Beyonce becomes the first artist to chart on Billboard Hot 100 for the last 28 years straight. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, Beyonce becomes the first artist to chart on Billboard Hot 100 for the last 28 years straight. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, this is huge. Beyonce is every big of a legend, an icon, a mainstay in the music space. She's one of our biggest and brightest stars ever. You can't tell the history of music without speaking about Beyonce, whether you're a fan of her or not. You're not in the Billboard Top 100 for the last 28 years by accident. Her impact on the culture, you see it. You see it. When she has these tours are sold out. She puts on a grand show, a grando show. Her performance and the experience of getting and watching a Beyonce performance is second to none. It's second to none. I'm talking about the complete experience, the colors, the dancing, the music, the imagery on how it hits you. Now she included her children into these performances, and it makes the performances even more powerful. So you don't be on the charts for this long, top 100, 28 years straight. That's 28 years straight is a long time. 28 years straight is older than my daughter. Like, that's a long time. That's a long time. And so shout out to Beyonce for such a mega and major accomplishment. And I would not be surprised that she's on the top 100 for another 2 more years straight, because she's always pumping great music. And Beyonce, for one, has done a great job at being an artist. You don't see her doing a whole lot of movies like that, and she's done a few. You see her doing brand deals and things like that, but her main thing have always been the main thing, which is the music. So shout out to Beyonce for that major accomplishment. And like for real, y'all, when it comes to performing, you're not putting many people in that conversation with Beyonce as far as performing. The type of performance that Beyonce give, it becomes preference based on what you would rather see. It becomes preference based, but she's in that conversation with Michael Jackson, Prince, Chris Brown, as far as performing, a P. Diddy, as far as performing, a Dougie Fresh, as far as performing, performance alone, DMX, performing, just performing, Jay-Z, R. Kelly. These people's performances are legendary. Usher, Legendary, meaning that they get on stage, whether they're dancers or not, there's a theme to the show. There's colors to the show. There's a rhyme and reason for the show. And Beyonce is in that conversation for great performances. Just an all around great performer. So shout out to Beyonce for this major accomplishment. Shout out to Maria in the building. We give her the props and flowers, but we are in our 50s. We still throw down. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not mentioning artists in their 50s as of right now because y'all not great or there's not artists that are great. New Edition throws a great show. Still throws a great show. For sure. For sure. New Edition, arguably, one of the best groups ever. If not, it's very arguable. But New Edition, their only kickback they would probably say is they would probably feel like they're the best group ever, but they will have too much respect for groups like Temptations and the Jacksons. Too much respect. And that's a different type of air in the group's sphere. So there's still a lot of people in there. I said Dougie Fresh. Dougie Fresh is what? In his 50s? Still put on a great show. Still put on a great show. So there's a lot of artists. Busta Rhymes, another artist that puts on a great show. Another artist that puts on a great show. And again, Beyonce, we forget that Beyonce is like in her like, if I'm 41, Beyonce is like at least like 46, 47. We forget that. We forget that. So, people just know how to put on a great show. They just know how to put on a great show. Shout out. They said that's by the way, it's Ricky Bell. Shout out to Ricky Bell. Shout out to Ricky Bell. Chilling with Maria. Shout out to Ricky Bell. Major props to Ricky Bell. That's Patrick. We had a blast. Thanks, Patrick. We had a blast. Yeah, shout out to Ricky Bell. One of my favorite New Edition members, man. So yeah. So again, shout out to Beyonce for this major accomplishment. Again, becomes the first artist to chart on Billboard Hot 100 for the last 28 years straight. All flowers to Beyonce. Rowan Jack share almost 80. Yeah, like I said, we got a lot of artists still out here and that can still put on a great show. But I mentioned the artists that I mentioned for a reason. And other great artists who perform well would tell you that Michael Jackson performing, people used to faint. Michael Jackson used to come on stage, let the big ass fan just hit that hair. Mind you, he had a Jerry curl, so to get wave on a Jerry curl is beyond me. But it was fire though. Didn't make a move for about 40 seconds straight, and people would fall out. Both men and women. Michael Jackson was so bad, they had ambulance at the side of the stage. That's crazy. Prince is something about the high heels, the choke chain that people went crazy for. I love the music. I wasn't necessarily a fan of Prince's style and how he dressed, but how he dressed is a part of the Prince experience. So it was like, yo, it is what it is. But he's busting splits. He's playing instruments. He got some of the finest women you ever seen in your life dancing on stage and next to him. You know what I'm saying? Gyrating and putting that thing on him. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, Prince. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to the legends. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I named those names regarding performances. Shout out to Jim in the building. Appreciate you for tapping in. Don't forget, y'all, hit them likes, hit the 100s. It does help with the growth of the show. We just got over 12,000 subscribers. So again, continue to like, subscribe, and share. And share. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. University of Notre Dame and Iowa State all have declined to play in their selected bowl games because they did not make it into the college football playoffs. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I think this is absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit. You play the season to get in the college football playoffs. If you don't, and you win enough games, go play your bowl game. When a team, and and, and I have to be honest when I say this, if you don't have overwhelming injuries on your team, then you go play that bowl game. You go play that bowl game. I don't care about the money or the state or the experience. Go play that bowl game because it gives a sore loser type mentality to your program when you decline decline to go play in bowl games when they selected you because you won enough games to go play in it. Oh, but if they told you you could go play in the playoffs, you go play in that, but you don't want to pull up to the bowl game. That sends the wrong message to the students completely. Now it will be a problem if a player did well all season and the team goes to a bowl game or the playoffs, and he like, yo, I did what I needed to do for the season. Y'all go play in the playoffs or y'all go play in that bowl game. I'm going to sit out. I'm going to get ready for the draft. I can't mess my money up. Y'all not cool with that. There's a problem with that. When a player say, yo, I'm going to sit out this bowl game. I'm going to sit out this playoff game because I don't want to mess up my draft status. But I gave y'all a full season. I gave y'all a full season. But y'all bash that player though. Oh, you're not really for the team. But as a university, you're declining bowl games because you wanted to go to a playoff system and you didn't earn the right to play in the playoff system. And I know we got some Notre Dame fans in here, but I really give it a sour, sad sack energy of a program to do that. Because again, if you was going to go to the playoffs, you would have played. But going to a bowl game, you're not going to play. That's a sore loser mentality, in my opinion. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work for me at all. Because again, you will have an issue if a player is going to say, yeah, I'm going to sit out. I'm going to keep it cool. But y'all go do y'all thing. I'm going to be rooting for y'all, baby. But y'all have a problem with the player. But nobody say nothing to the university when they decide to sit out. Now, for both Iowa State and Notre Dame, especially for Notre Dame because they was like the first team out of the playoffs, if y'all win the loss, y'all would have been in the playoffs. Just that simple. If you win, you're in. And just so happily, and oddly enough, they took a team that y'all lost to into the playoffs. Shouldn't have lost. Or, how about this, Apple? Join the damn conference. Join the damn conference. What are you afraid of? Notre Dame? Join the conference. Notre Dame is in conferences in every sport except for football. Every sport. Every single sport. They play in the ACC for every single sport with the exception of their hockey team. Their hockey team plays in the Big Ten. I don't know how the hell a school could select which conference they in from sport to sport. That's not fair. That's not fair. No other school is selecting from sport to sport what conference they in. What type? That's to me, you don't want real competition like that. That's the type of energy that gives off. And the ACC, let's keep it real. The ACC ain't no conference to be afraid of. The ACC is borderline ass. It's borderline ass. Let's keep it real. Big 10, SEC, Big 12, then the ACC. That's how that go. That's how that go. Clemson ain't the same. Florida State haven't been the same. And that's supposed to be your mainstay teams. Duke has gotten better, but nobody fearing Duke. North Carolina, y'all see what North Carolina look like. Y'all see what it looked like. SMU is originally a Big 12 team, and they're in the SEC, in the ACC going crazy. Pitt has always been mediocre. Always been mediocre. ACC is not a conference people are afraid of. Virginia just got a little bit better. But Virginia is mediocre. They lost to a team they had no business losing to in Duke. NC State, they could be an uprising NC State, but NC State has always been mediocre. So the ACC is mediocre. So the fact that Notre Dame plays in the ACC for all the sports except for football, and if they chose a conference, would be the ACC. Y'all choosing to play against lesser talent, where Notre Dame will actually benefit from playing in the Big Ten. Come play in the Big Ten, big boy football. And the reason why they would benefit more for playing in the Big Ten, for those who don't know, is that most of their longer lasting rivalries are originally in the Big Ten. They have a long lasting rivalry with my school, Michigan. Long lasting rivalry with USC. They have a long lasting rivalry with Purdue. So they would benefit more to playing in our conference. Not to mention, they get it shaky with what's the other school? That's another school I'm missing right now from the Big Ten. But they will have a better conference, obviously, and they get to still play those out of conference games and maintain those rivalries, like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marshall. They still get to maintain those if they join the Big Ten opposed to joining the ACC. Ain't nobody afraid of no ACC. ACC is a mediocre ass conference. The Big 12 is better than the ACC. And if you look at the head-to-heads, the Big 12 been beating the dog shit out of the ACC. Go look it up. I'm not even arguing that. So if Notre Dame don't want to have to worry about not getting into the college football playoffs after going 10-2, then they need to join a conference, preferably the Big Ten. And yes, and it was Nebraska. It was Nebraska. Thank you, Vic. Appreciate that, Vic. My dude Vic is in the building. One of our day ones, one of our badge holders in the building. Thank you, Vic. But yes, Notre Dame will benefit more for playing in the Big Ten. And another reason why they will benefit more for playing in the Big Ten is because they are Notre Dame. No, you can't tell the story about college football without Notre Dame. You can't. No matter if you like them or you hate them, you can't tell the story of that. Their rivalry with Miami is not good enough for them to play in the ACC. It's not good enough. There's a rivalry that's deeply rooted. It's not bigger than them in Michigan and Penn State and Nebraska and Purdue, USC. That's real beef right there. You have more beef in one conference and you can maintain your out of conference rivalries. And as a recruiter, what do you think a kid would say like, yo, we're playing Michigan, we're playing Penn State, we're playing Nebraska, we're playing USC, and we get to play Miami out of conference, Army, Navy. Oh, I could come to Notre Dame and really turn it up. So again, in that regard, Notre Dame, if you don't want to get left out after going 10-2, join the damn conference. Iowa State, on the other hand, they play in the Big 12. The Big 12, top to bottom, is a scary conference because you just don't know who's going to win week to week. They can all beat each other. There's no dominance in the Big 12 right now. But Iowa State, other than y'all not having injury, y'all should not be missing no bowl games. It's Iowa State, bro. Y'all not Iowa. Y'all not any other school as far as brand name where y'all can miss bowl games. So outside of barring injury, meaning you have too many injuries to play in the bowl game, if that's not the case, y'all should not be sitting out of any bowl games. It's just that simple. Shout out to the chat, uh, where my big bro played, Lawrence Phillips, Nebraska. That's a fact. Lawrence Phillips was a beast. Uh, I'm a little upset in the school like James Madison and Tulane. They're in the playoffs. Not Notre Dame. Also, Alabama made it with 10-3 record. Rose Bowl is the best bowl game for me. But here's the thing, Pat. Here's the thing. Alabama, you're not going to compare Alabama's schedule to a Notre Dame schedule. Not this year. Again, y'all played about 5 or 6 games against other ACC teams. That is not the strength of schedule. It's laughable. It's laughable. So right then and there, it negates it. And remind you, Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia just beat Alabama, but Alabama still beat Georgia at a time when Georgia was kicking ass, right? James Madison. Now, if James Madison played Notre Dame, who would win that game? Me personally, I would say y'all. I would say y'all. So based on that premise alone, y'all should be in based on that premise alone. Based on that premise alone. Because you're taking the best 12 teams, right? Tulane. They won their conference in a dominating fashion. There has to be a reward for teams who are the group of 5 who are dominant. They deserve a chance in the playoffs because they was dominant. So James Madison is getting their turn because they were dominant. Mind you, James Madison beat North Carolina last year when their team was much better, when they had the kid Hampton that plays on the Chargers right now, or the Broncos. I think he's either on the Broncos or the Chargers. But the kid Hampton, that team was good, and they beat the hell out of them. They put like 71 points on them. So James Madison been kicking ass for a little while now, so they deserve a shot. Are they the better team than Notre Dame? I would say no. But you still have to give the group of 5 a chance to play against top tier talent. What will be their reward for going undefeated? What will be their reward? So they have to get one of those spots. So I'm in agreement with the committee that one of those teams got to get that spot. Now, would I rather have Tulane or Notre Dame? I would rather have Tulane. Would I rather have Notre Dame than James Madison? I would rather have Notre Dame in. But again, y'all Notre Dame and y'all out of conference. Y'all play independent. Y'all don't have a dog in a fight when y'all independent because you get to pick and choose. And because y'all get to pick and choose, unlike Tulane and unlike James Madison, you're going to be on the outside and always be on the outside. If you have 10-3 records, 10-2 records, you always going to be on the outside. And because y'all on the outside, y'all don't play conference championships. So join a conference, and if y'all go 10-2, y'all are in, baby. And it's just as simple as that. Join a conference. All the other sports in the at Notre Dame is in a conference. Join the conference. If y'all was in the ACC and y'all didn't make the playoffs, it would be a whole issue. I would have a whole issue, even though the ACC is the ACC is mid and mediocre at best. I still wouldn't have no issue with y'all making the playoffs at 10-2. Not whatsoever. Not whatsoever. Independent, 10-2. Bon voyage. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy Cancun. You know what I'm saying? So join the conference. And join the right conference. Join the Big Ten. Don't go in that ACC. Take that ACC. Get them out of here. That's easy. That's an easy conference for y'all. You know that. You know that. Not gonna lie. It's a whole market of it. You're a KC guy. No, of course you know, but you know I'm a KC fan. You know I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I hate that. Collarball about the ratings and the Benjamins. That's my whole Notre Dame being independent hurts them. It it well, that's what it does. It really hurts them being independent because their independent schedule is not strong. Again, the ACC is mediocre as fuck. So if you play 5 or 6 games in the ACC, you don't really schedule no real heavy hitters after that. You schedule Army, you schedule Navy. To a team like Notre Dame, is Army and Navy a real threat to y'all? Y'all schedule Marshall. Y'all will have either USC or Miami on your schedule. I know y'all schedule front to back. Trust me, from front to back. Y'all might play Penn State. If y'all don't play Penn State, y'all will play Purdue or Northwestern. Last year, I think last year y'all lost to Northern Illinois. So y'all will play a MAC conference. So that y'all strength of schedule is not strong. And when you play against a head-to-head like a team against Miami, y'all have to win those. So join a conference. Y'all football program will go to the next level if y'all join the Big Ten. Real talk. Because Notre Dame, unlike any other team in the Big Ten, y'all recruit everywhere. Y'all have no base of recruiting. That's the beauty of going to Notre Dame, is that y'all could go recruit in Florida, Texas. Y'all could go recruit in Indiana, where y'all at. Y'all could go recruit New York. Y'all could go recruit DC. Y'all could go recruit in Hawaii. Y'all could go recruit anywhere. California, if I didn't say California already. Y'all could recruit anywhere. So it'll be a much bigger brand. Tougher games, but it'll be a much bigger brand. It won't be easy. But at least if y'all go 10-2 in the Big Ten, it wouldn't be a conversation. They're like Vanderbilt. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because if Vanderbilt would have won a couple of more games, they would have went to the playoffs. Vanderbilt was balling this year. The only reason why they not going to the playoffs because they didn't beat Alabama. They didn't beat a Georgia. If they would have beat those teams, I believe they beat Ole Miss if I'm not mistaken. But if they would have beat those teams, they would have been in the playoffs. If a SEC team is undefeated or one loss, they're in the playoffs. The Big Ten, if they're undefeated, one loss, two loss, hell, in some extreme cases of 3 loss, they're going to the playoffs because of the strength of schedule, the strength of that Big Ten schedule. If you're in the ACC or the Big 12, it gets kind of murky. It gets kind of murky. You got to be dominant. Got to be dominant. So, all right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. I have to give, I've seen a video that went viral, and it was a young man walking through the neighborhood, and a guy pulls up beside him and is like, yo, what are you doing in the neighborhood? Are you one of those guys that be doing the robberies in the neighborhood? And as he's walking, he's like not paying this guy no mind. The guy has his camera on him. He has the camera on the guy, and he's just like looking at him. And he keeps walking. Then there's another guy that comes out of nowhere, and mind you, these guys are driving in their trucks, and they keeping track of this young man as he walked through the neighborhood. And they're yelling, "Get out our neighborhood!" And of course, this was racially motivated. The person I was walking through was cultured, and these men were white. Yo, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. One of the things that I like about my friends who happen to be white, when they see racism, they put foot to ass on it. When they see racism, I will not stand for this bullshit any longer, where we have these idiots out here thinking it's okay to roll up on anybody, let alone us as the cultured community, like we're criminals. Do we have criminals in the culture community? Yes, just like we have criminals in the white community and other communities. There's criminals all over the place. Like I said before, our country benefits off racism because it benefits on keeping people divided. I've said this before. What brings people together is subgenres. Subgenres are such as music, sports, podcasting, brings people together. But as a people and as a subgenre, we have to speak out against this type of bullshit. And we hear too many times of people being unalive just from walking through the neighborhoods. But it's not funny, but it's funny that these individuals pick out people that look like they won't crash the hell out. Public service announcement. Try that shit with me. Try that shit with me. We gotta stop with this shit. If y'all see this, y'all gotta call on it. Y'all gotta call on it. People can no longer feel the fear of just walking through a damn neighborhood, minding their business, and feeling like their life should be at jeopardy. Whether you black or whether you white, whether you cultured or whether you're white, speak up on against that shit if you're not for that shit. If you see somebody in your neighborhood on some bullshit, speak up against it and do something about it. Because I went to a high school and it was a culture shock for me when I went to this high school because I was actually recruited to play football and basketball at this high school. And when I went to this high school, I was a bit reluctant because a lot of the people up in there was white. And it was a culture shock for me because I've come from a neighborhood where it's struggle and it's cultured. And in this community was white. And it surprised the hell out of me where the people that I was meeting who happened to be white was solid, were like just good people. And that opened up my eyes to realize that good people is not a color, yo. It's not a race. It's not that. We got some assholes in every race, but we got some solid mofos in every race, bro. In every race. And that made me open up my mind and my heart differently. I had a situation in high school one time where I was a freshman and a guy who was bigger than me, who happened to be white, said some real funny stuff to me. And I looked at him and I was ready to punch him in the face. I told you I was a little bit crazy coming up. And I still had some size on me. I wasn't a small guy. I'm not a small guy like that. But one of my seniors, even though I was a freshman, one of my seniors heard it. And he said, yo, what did you say to my little brother? Mind you, one of the seniors is a white guy telling this to another white guy. He said, what did you say to my little brother? Looks at me, looks at him. Clearly, visually, right? What did you just say? And the guy apologized. He made him apologize. And because he is who he is, he said, if I ever hear you messing with him in any type of way, I'm going to tie your ears behind your neck. And he did leave he left some fluids on his face. He did he left some fluids on his face and he couldn't do nothing about it. And that let me know right then and there that people make choices to see color and not to see color. And of course we see color based on our differences and things of that nature. But because of my high school experience, and not just that one alone, just all through, it opened up my eyes to see more than color. And it's more behavior. And Football and sports bring people together. That subgenre. So when I see shit like this, where you have these men who are choosing to be outwardly aggressive and outwardly looking to do something to this person just from walking through the neighborhood, we're no longer tolerating that bullshit. Especially try it on somebody who will do something back. Me, I live in Florida, boss. Let that sit in. Think of the laws in Florida. Try that with me. Try that with me. We got a different set of rules in Florida. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So if you pull up on me, best believe, if you digging a grave for me, you better dig one for yourself. Best believe. We can no longer have this bullshit where people don't feel the fear of approaching somebody they have no business approaching. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? And if you're not for that, speak up against it and do something about it when you see it happening. When you see it happening. You'll be surprised the change of the community that it has when men stand up. Righteousness always prevail. Shout out to Vic. He said genetic. I learned it in jail. Having interracial kids did too. Stick and move. Armed in society is polite society. I'm from Texas, but raised in Cali. We got the dumbest gun laws. I'm just tired of seeing this. I'm tired of seeing this. And the reason why, these are not kids that's misinformed, that have a lot of the wrong images and, moving about. These are grown ass men who are clearly in their late 40s, 50s, that carry out these type of energies and ideologies on how they're going to move and how they feel like they're protecting their neighborhood. You will lose your life by taking one. Do that with somebody you know got that energy, because they don't. They do it to the person that feel like, yo, they don't. Yeah, all right, yeah, this is the easy one right here. It's an easy one. And we got to speak up against it. And shit like this is still happening in 2025. We're about to go in 2026. We're about to go in 2026. And stuff like this is still happening. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired that people are feeling that type of fear. And especially, you don't see that with, I'm going to just keep it a buck with y'all. If white people roll through a cultured neighborhood, y'all don't get hassled. Y'all don't get hassled. Go about your business. Everybody go about their business. We don't have the right to stop anybody. Like, yo, our country is our country, man. You ain't stop. Everybody go about their business. But I'm seeing it from some of these white folks. Obviously not all. Because if that was the case, then some of y'all wouldn't be up here. So that lets me know that people that choose to be assholes, be racist, that's a choice. That's a choice. And it's a choice made out of fear. And it's a bigger choice in imagery that's put on people based on resources and lack of it, and blame it on one race to another race. What are we doing? I read something today where history is bound to repeat itself, where us as humans is bound to end our own world. We're not the first civilization ever made, and other civilizations had ended their civilization just by being idiots. And when I see things like this, and when I watch movies and things happen back in the 1920s, 1930s, and we 2025 and things are still happening. Nah, hell no. I wish y'all would. I wish y'all would. I wish y'all would. And because, like I said, y'all, I carry that with me. I carry that with me. That yeah, I just don't play them type of games. That's probably why I don't get tried. That's probably why. Cause I don't play them games. I don't have that energy where people can roll up on me and thinking it's gonna be good. And I'm not even saying this, that's no tough guy. If you dig a ditch for me, you better dig one for yourself. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic, on to much more pleasant vibe. Uh, I didn't mean to say more pleasant vibe, but a different vibe, right? A different vibe. Hold on, before I move on to that, let me check out the chat real quick. Classism, it would be happening in 2020, in 26, but it will always be poor versus poor. Honestly, when I see a strange person walking into my apartment building that I never seen, I do question them regardless of color or gender, but I'm not trying to beat them up. Uh, can a brother get a rap? That see, that in itself, I understand. And I understand it from the aspect of just like you looking out, right? You're looking out for your neighbors, you're looking out for your friend, but you're not being intrusive. You're not going up to them being aggressive, like, yo, where you from? Who's your people? Who you? Who the hell are you? You're not doing that. But you like, yo, I recognize your face, I recognize your license plate, just in case of something jump off, but you do that for everyone, not just one set of people. You know what I'm saying? There could be a woman that look kind of strange and be like, yo, she don't look like she look kind of crazy. She look like she about to bust up somebody's car, right? So that's kind of different opposed to you just doing that to people because of their race. That's different. That's a little different. That's a little different. That's a little different. Absolutely, that's a little different because we all gonna look out if we see somebody who looks kind of homeless walking into an apartment complex or your neighbor's yard and looking through the window. You know what I'm saying? But that's not your job to confront them, right? That's not our job to confront them. Call the police. If there was a real issue, you call the police. Let the police do their job. They have the wherewithal and the authority to handle that. Not us. Who the hell are we? Who the hell are we? We just police and just the police. See what I'm saying? And it's all based on prejudice. We did that in the hood, but moved out to the deluxe apartment in the sky. Rowan Jack, I do it all the time. Um, damn naives need to get back to their damn boat and go back where they came from. Vic, you stupid. My middle name. He said that's my middle name. Funny. But yeah, like I said, the police, let them do their job. Damn Navy. Oh, Navy. Navy. Yeah, damn Navy. Damn Navy need to go back to their boat and go back where they came from. You stupid. And he's saying, Navy, Army, because they got bases that they can live on and stuff. But again, y'all, at the end of the day, we can't be for the nonsense. Obviously, if somebody's in a place where it's like, yo, they looking in somebody's house. Again, that's not your job to roll up on them, but yo, you call the police. Hey, I don't know who this person is. He's visibly about to go in somebody's home. Send somebody over here. Let them do their job. Simple and plain. Vic is stupid. Backdoor business, stupid. And again, shout out to our badge holders in the building, man. Shout out to our badge holders and our day one. Showing major love in the chat. Don't forget that them likes hit the 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. The escort of the Diddy and Cassie case says that Cassie gave him chlamydia, and he is suing because she misled him on her sexual activities, and money that was promised to him he never received via through her, where she paid for his travels and and other things in the same regards of the same RICO Act as Diddy was charged for in his case. So he is suing her based on that particular, premise under that RICO Act. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. What he said, Patrick, Vic is hilarious. Vic, I try, but I have to. I'm here all week. As did you watch the documentary? I did not watch the documentary yet. I know I said I was gonna watch it, but I don't know what. And I think I spoke on the last episode. Like, I don't know if I really want to watch it, man. I don't know, cause I really don't have like an ink to watch it. I really don't. I honestly feel like I won't be educated on anything that I didn't know about P. Diddy prior to. I really believe that. And maybe because I'm from New York, so there's a lot of things that we already heard in New York, or you know what I'm saying? Like rumors and stuff like that, that if it's in the documentary, it'd be like, this was like a waste of time. You know what I mean? So I did not watch it yet. I am gonna watch it though. I am. I'm gonna watch it for sure. Well, I don't know. I keep saying that. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta be in the mood. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta be in the mood. It's something about these smear campaigns, even if it's true or not. Like even with the R. Kelly thing, it took me a minute to watch R. Kelly, and I think I watched it mainly to see the validity of of the case and how people was talking. With P. Diddy, I mean, in open court, they said this man, after Cassie was released on, you know what I mean? After she had uh, 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 she was visited by the milkman, that she would take that and rub it on his chest. There's nothing else I need to watch. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing else I need to watch. Like it is what it is. Like and this was an open court. Like there's nothing else that trumps that, in my opinion. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I don't know. I keep saying I am, but I don't know. Every time I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Like, yeah, nah. Throwing Welcome to Dairy. I'd rather watch Welcome to Dairy than the Diddy documentary. Shout out to Ebony. She isn't a victim. The words came out of her mouth. She wanted to be there at the party. You stupid. Vic, unless they have what they said, a toxicist report. I feel the same way about Michael Jackson allegations. Uh, Bro, you got to see it. There's new stuff in there. Basically, the documentary ties him to Tupac and Biggie being killed. But I heard of that before. I've seen how it tied into. I've seen how he tied into both of their murders on other documentaries. They came to Diddy party. What they expect. Good evening, Ashley. Shout out to Ashita in the building, y'all. Hit them likes, hit the 100s. Again, it helps with the growth of the show. You already know how we do. Washida always holds it down, always engaging into the chat. Appreciate Washida for popping up. But yeah, I've heard of the, like, I've seen it. There was documentaries way back where there was like a big conspiracy theory that Diddy was behind Tupac getting shot and was behind Biggie being murdered, and he employed the use of Crips in California to get at Tupac. And then even Gene Deal, if y'all not familiar with Gene Deal, he's a former bodyguard of P Diddy. He's been saying, for any camera Gene Deal could get in front of, he's been saying for years, like, yo, he had a conversation with Diddy before regarding uh before Biggie Smalls passed away. He's like, yo, if he says something in regards, if Suge gotta die, Tupac gotta die, or Big gotta die, so be it. So I'm not surprised on that. I'm not surprised on that. But I like I said, I don't know. I may be in the mood to watch it. But I haven't been in the mood to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. But it's just like nothing trumps that to me with the man milk. Like, she get man milk released on her body. She takes it, and he wants that man milk rubbed on his chest. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, what's the whole purpose of the Diddy oil? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know me. I call all baby oil Diddy oil. You know what I'm saying? Like, the take that edition. You know what I'm saying? I call it all Diddy oil. So at the end of the day, and I do it for chuckles. I don't do it. I do it for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, I don't know. I just don't feel like I want to see it, to be honest with you. But I may one day. Uh, is it funny that Death Row head of security is the baby lame murder investigator's son? Yeah, all of these are not coincidences. All of these are not a coincidence. Yes, love for for me being love for me being here, Rowan. They haven't been trolling lately. It's a miracle. It's not hard trolling in anytime I have the mods in here. I will say that, because the trolls, if I don't have the mods, they go hammies. They go hammies. Reggie White Senior and Reggie White Jr. Yes, yes, yep. I heard of them brothers before. Baby Oil Wrestling. But it's all for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? It's all for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. But what do you think about, continue? What do you think about the sex worker, the escort, suing suing Cassie under the same RICO guidelines that was set for Diddy, because again, she paid for him, transported for him, and paid him for acts, but he feels like she was misleading based on her sexual activity, based on their conversations. He said that their sexual encounters wasn't just with her and Diddy. They've had countless of hours on the phone and communication outside of just their acts alone. And he felt like he was more so like a side boyfriend, or in that realm, opposed to just like somebody coming in and just cracking cakes. So let me know what y'all think about that. It ain't tricking if you can afford it. So I mean, it ain't, you going to jail. Either way, you're going to jail. He says, don't trick. You're going to jail now. You know what I mean? So, but somebody has said it in the chat that she isn't a victim. I think she is a victim on one aspect where Diddy obviously physically abused her. Did we see what led up to that? No, we did not. But what we seen on video was nasty, was ugly, and you can't defend that for real. So she's a victim on that aspect. But all the other sex stuff, I agree with you. I agree with you. And this is based on her testimony, not based on what I feel or based on what I think happened, based on what she said in open court. She was a willing participant. There was a time where she was with her husband now, and Diddy would be on the phone and was like, yo, we about to FO. You down, I'm down, I'll be right there. So she was a willing participant on multiple occasions. So on that aspect, I do not believe she's a victim. So the same guidelines and rules that Diddy was held accountable for, she should be held accountable if this man feels like a victim based on the information that he was getting from her solely because they were sexual partners and then some based on his testimony. He says he has text messages and his phone conversations that can be proven. So at the end of the day, should she be looking at some sort of civil penalty? I believe she should. Now, should she be looked at as some sort of criminal penalty? There's something that could be said for that too, because it's based on that guideline. So she could be looking at both if he pushes this case even further. And he said that she gave him chlamydia on top of that. So shout out to the chat. I don't know. Will Smith seems beaten down. I'ma serve it cold. Gotta keep on pippin'. It's really sad what's really been going on in Hollywood. So many have been promised a better future, and now this is crazy work. Nah, the next elders have to keep the good Z promises and protect the respect and elder of respect. Uh, I'm more weirded out by him tapping Willow and Winslow. Well, I will say about this because you in particular, Washida, you had made mention on just Hollywood in itself. Let's not mistake it. A lot of people learn how to be victims when it benefits them, because when everything was happening, it was all good in the hood. It's one thing if people didn't know how to process being victimized, and trauma doesn't necessarily have a time limit. But if you're having a grand old time, then you're picking and choosing, in my opinion, to and when to be victimized, especially when it has a monetary gain on it. Especially when you're really victimized, you don't care about the monetary gain. If there's something to be had, okay, cool, but I want this person in jail because they really victimized me. And I'm going to say it right here and now. If it takes you 10 years later, you're still going to be focused more on the criminal aspect opposed to the monetary gain, especially if some of these crimes doesn't carry the same type of time period of crime, right? The term is escaping me right now, but when a certain crime exceeds its time, then obviously you can't go after somebody criminally. You have to go after them or civilly, or you want to make this on the record based on their history and their personality, and you want this put on record just in case they get caught up again, right? In this aspect, this person received a major monetary gain. And on record, this person has spoke on having a grand old time. So in that book, in that part in itself, a lot of people in Hollywood, in my opinion, sign up for this shit. And it's a part of the game in their eyes. It's a part of it. It's a part of it. They party, and if they can make some money, they turn themselves into a victim to be a victim to get them their golden parish, their walkaway money. $30 million is a lot of walkaway money. It's a lot of walkaway money. So especially in this economy, oh God, oh God. So Hollywood in itself, I think a lot of people, in my opinion, sign up for it. They sign up for it. They sign up for the freak off. At some point, you have a choice to leave. At some point, there's accountability. And I know you're not saying that there isn't any, but when you brought up Hollywood, I'm just saying that a lot of people sign up for that. Even though as people that deal in morality, you got to realize the entertainment space is not based in morality. It's not based in that. And that's why people who are in the entertainment space speak on our morality. So we separate ourselves from the two. It's like, yo, I'm about this entertainment life, but I move on a set of morals and standards. That's probably why you don't see certain opportunities for this person opposed for that person. So that person all the way in there. No pun intended. So that's why I had to add that tidbit to that. Shout out to Vic. What a freak. More than backdoor shenanigans. Shout out to Aaron. Is there any is there anything to worry about, John? I don't know what that terminology mean, Aaron. Shout out to shout out to Rowan. P Diddy did for music what Harvey Weinstein did for movies, though. I don't agree. I don't agree only because, like I said earlier, because we're in a new music space, it doesn't give the same remnants for that. P Diddy, what has said to be of his behavior is learned behavior. It didn't start with P Diddy, so that's why that's different from Harvey Weinstein. And then, and to keep it all the way a buck, P Diddy, from what we've heard, dealt with adults. You don't hear children or kids or underage. So that's what make it a little different in my eyes. But Harvey Weinstein, and they still making Scream movies. They still making Scream movies. Everybody going to the Scream movies having a grand old time. That's a Harvey Weinstein movie, a Harvey Weinstein production. See, that's the problem because the system is tricky. Rowan, I agree with that. Salute. Statute of limitations. Yes, that was the term I was thinking about. Statute of limitations. It is, but not many know all the rules or how to play. They get involved. Yo, Vic, you stupid. Keep my tight. These elders not holding it down like we do. That's a fact. But I will say this, learn from Quincy Jones. I will say this. So there's two aspects of the elders, right? The one aspect of it, of the elders, is that they definitely didn't hold it down because they didn't give us passed down information. They led us to believe that in order to be successful, we had to continue to do this same toxic or the same rigmarole and the same industry, same thing, right? But then it's also information. Now, when you're an adult, once you get information, whether you're a part of the information age or not, information is information. And if you have proper information, you don't lead other people to slaughter. And I say this all the time, some lambs are made for slaughter. And the reason why I say that, because some people don't care. Some people don't care. Some people don't want to have the good deal. Some people just rather have the name recognition. Some people would rather be perceived successful than actually be successful, especially from the cultured community. And and part of that is an elder thing because a part of the elders gave us the identity where it's like, yo, you're not great unless you're a part of something that is perceived to be great because of the greater good. And because they see the greater good more beneficial based on their upbringing opposed to ours, that's why they had part of that ideology. I'm a big homie, not OG, OJ, Folder, yup, Folder, Prodigy, Rakim, yup, that's crazy. Yeah, and that's what it is. And I make this declaration in sports. A lot of my friends will say that this generation of athletes were better than us as athletes and better than the athletes before us. And I say bullshit. I say bullshit. The reason why I say bullshit to it is certain things as athletes, as the newer generation, They just have because we're their parents. That's why. They have some of this because we're their parents. So when they do engage in sports, yo, if you're going to play basketball, you need to do this. Doesn't make them great. Doesn't make them great. The athletes, when we was like prime athletes, and the athletes before us, we was like real athletes, like running real track. If you look at bodybuilding, you look at these same records are still being held from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, set from the 70s. I went to Fort Hamilton High School in Brooklyn, and you still see them same records from like 1984, 90. So we can't say that that this era of athletes is just better. No, they more accustomed to different things because we're their parents. The average kid is not even athletic nowadays. Most kids don't even go outside. So how can the kids be more athletic? Right? So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. But as kids, we realize that speed matters. So now when we have a kid, if he's a defensive end, all right, you got the natural size, son. Now go run some hundreds. Because now that 100 is going to translate to you being a better athlete. See what I'm saying? So I can't agree with that. We got great athletes in every era. It's just different. That's all. It's just different. But the same thing with the music industry, and same thing with Diddy. His behavior or perceived behavior is not something that he came up all by himself. It's a learned behavior. It's learned. So I don't think his misfortunes identifies the whole hip hop. I think it identifies him. And that's mainly because, like how I spoke about earlier, because hip hop is in a different space. Now, if hip hop was in the same space 20 years ago where it was just all digital, we still relied on gatekeepers, then yeah, this will be a major stain on hip hop. Major stain. So that's how I look at it, in my opinion. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. Sad news to my team. Sad news. I hate this. Like for real, they coming for us, man. My Michigan Wolverines, man. My Michigan Wolverines. We fired our head coach Sharon Moore today. Mainly, he's been relieved of duties due to a 4 cause of his contract, which means which is alleged that he had an inappropriate relationship with one of the staff members that clearly violated the policy and the terms of his contract. And shortly hours after that, he's been arrested. Details still have yet to be made public. Now that is truly, truly sad for me as a Michigan fan, grown up as a Michigan fan, wanted to go to Michigan, got recruited there for a short period of time in my sophomore year of high school, and just love the school of Michigan. But just everything it stands for the most part. Not every single thing, but for the most part. It's just a fan of Michigan. Football, basketball, all sports, just a great school. Sharon Moore was our coach in waiting after Jim Harbaugh. Understands the Ohio rivalry, and just gets it. So this is a setback for our program, a major setback for our program. I hate the fact that he has to go through this, and it just seems like he always had a major strain on his contract and his tenure, being that he was one of Jim Harbaugh's guys. Jim Harbaugh would never coach a college football ever again based on the sanctions. And the sanctions are some bullshit with the sign stealing. Every team looks at other teams' signs and try to figure out their signs. It's just how the way that we try to went about and do it. But every team tried to figure it out. But you still play the game. you still play the game. So that's bullshit in all in itself. But because of that, there was sanctions that he had to meet that he did not, and because of that, he ended up losing the Michigan job. And I'm gonna be rooting for him to land on his feet. Um, him being arrested hours later is not a good look, but it doesn't define who he is as a person and the good that he's done for not just for Michigan, but for the communities that he working with young men in sports and out of sports, and being a real role model to the kids coming up. And again, being arrested doesn't define you as a person and to define your contributions. And I know people are going to try to make it that way when you mess up, so it throws everything away that you done did positively. Everything. So again, his arrest is not being made public as of yet. Um, but I still wish the best for Sharon Moore, and I hope that we find somebody that gets it as a Michigan coach, and the rivalry against Ohio, and the dominance that we continue to have moving forward. So I really wish Sharon Moore the best of luck and tough break to him. Uh, Somebody else, same old thing. Damn. I'm glad my biggest sin is my porn. Oh my God. Uh, Stupid. What was the arrest for? I didn't read about that news yet. Yeah, that his arrest is still undisclosed. They still haven't released why he hasn't been arrested. But him being fired was something completely different. Him being fired, they said he had an inappropriate relationship with one of the staff members, and that clearly violated the policy of the contract. Um, and of the ordinance of the contract. So him being arrested is deemed to be different. Like, so when people get fired, they don't get arrested. You know what I'm saying? So it's something different. It's something different. Uh, that's what they want to happen. Mess him up, his rhythm. I honestly believe it, because again, if Jim Harbaugh wouldn't have left Michigan and go on to the NFL. He's at the Chargers. He's not even dealing. Mind you, they gave him sanctions, but he doesn't have to deal with the sanctions because he's not coaching college football. He coaches the NFL, so he never has to worry about college football sanctions ever. So, and this is sanctions based on under his leadership. So, and it just seems like everybody from that leadership, they just went after. We gotta wait to hold judgment for now. That's a fact. That's a fact. Obviously, whatever he's arrested for, depending on what that is going to be another, sliding scale to that. So, but I really do hope and wish the best for him. And people take being fired like it. Michigan is a dream job, yo. It's a dream football job, in my opinion. The colors, the school, the tradition, the access to the great players, the brand. I mean, it's just one of those schools, man. It's just, you can't tell the story of college football without Michigan. So, man, I really wish the best for Sharon Moore as a person, though. Michigan, we will bounce back because we're Michigan, but as a person, I hope he bounced back as well. All right, y'all, moving on to my next popular opinion. My next hot topic. I said popular opinion. My next hot topic. Uh, I want to say this. When it comes to entertainment, time kills interest. When it comes to entertainment, time kills interest. At least for me. At least for me. There's shows that I was looking forward to watching that I no longer care that they're around. I no longer care that they like, it's just too much time in between, and I think that's on purpose by the networks. For example, shout out to Puka in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Are you Come on, dude. We got one, y'all. We got a troll. We got one. We were just saying that tonight we went through majority of the night without a troll. We got one in Puka. We got one in Puka. It's just a weirdo. If I was that, I wouldn't even be ashamed to be that. We live in a day and age people don't have to be afraid to being homosexual. Obviously, you would not leave me with your chick, bro. You wouldn't do that, bro. You would not leave me with your chick, bro. Come on, dude. You wouldn't do that. If you left me with your chick, anyway, anyway, I'm not even gonna finish that. I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna do it. Uh, but shout out to Patrick. Rivers back, old ass man. I heard that. I heard Rivers is back. I heard Rivers is back. I heard Philip Rivers is back. 44, and he's back. I'm gonna talk about that next. Matter of fact, I'm gonna talk about that next. But it's certain, like when time passes, you lose your interest in shows that you really like you really like and you want to see more of it. Now, I see somebody in the chat said X-Men 97. Now, X-Men 97 is taking a minute to come back out. But at that first season, I don't know, Rowan Jack, it still got me in the chokehold a little bit, me personally. Me personally. Now, if they come out and be like, yeah, X-Men 97 coming out in 2027, I'm like, get it out of here. Get it out of here. But because it's coming back in 2026, I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? They let us go for a whole year, which I'm tight about that. But 2026 is right around the corner. So I'm gonna keep it cool. I'm gonna be cool like how I be cool. We're gonna keep it cool, right? But I feel you on that though, because it's a lot of time done passed. For me, when I think of shows like Power, the Power series, P Valley, The Shy, I just and I spoke on it last show, like we are what we eat, we are what we watch, right? And sometimes like certain shows, you outgrow the theme and the messaging. And when time passed, you kind of lose the connection of the interest of the show. It's like, damn, like I was really watching this. Now I couldn't wait for it to come on. But now, well, before I couldn't wait for it to come on, but now it's like I don't even want to watch this shit. This is garbage. So I find it interesting that a lot of networks take the initiative to delay shows on purpose in killing the shows, knowing for a viewer it's going to ruin that experience and ruin the timing that people just and they purposely doing it to cancel the show. So I didn't even put two and two together until I did my own research, obviously. But this is the thing that networks are actually holding shows in hopes of killing the interest because, like, let's be real. P Valley was one of the hottest shows on TV when it was on, right? And mind you, it wasn't an easy watch on top of that. And for those who know, no. And now you have time pass, the interest and being involved into the story is like, hey, I'm cool. Same thing with The Shy. Same thing with the Power series. The Power series was so dope at one time, it would have been an absolute smart move if they would have expanded to 12 episodes per series and they ran the series back to back. Like they show Power, they show Ghost, then they show Power, then they show Force, then they show Raising Kanan, then they had the other one that they wanted to do, and they had them back to back. And then they had BMF. So that would have been like the sixth show before things were left with BMF, off the camera. But they do that purposely to kill the interest of the show, just to kill the show. And that's something I didn't realize. And in the chat, y'all saying South Park, y'all saying some of the Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel Universe spinoffs, X-Men 97. So y'all saying a few of these, and when they delay it, they doing it on purpose to kill these shows and to kill these interests. So I am in agreement that time does kill the interest of the shows, but we don't know as viewers that they doing it on purpose. They doing it on purpose. That's why I love shows like or networks like is that Paramount that has like the Landman and Tulsa King. I like that, and they have one of my favorite shows. Oh my God, this is off the tip of my tongue. Pause. The Mayor of Kingstown. Love that show. And those networks, when they finish their series and they like, yo, we gonna see y'all in about 6 months. Be ready. And we're gonna run this thing again, baby. I likes that because that you depend not depend, but it's dependable when you expecting a certain show to come out opposed to delaying it and killing the interest of the show. So they do this on purpose, and that's the only thing that sucks. Like I said it on in the chat, X-Men 97 was fire. They did a good job with that series. That's a fact. That's why I can't be all the way out on X-Men 97. I'd rather rewatch it than to be all the way out knowing that they coming back in 26. But they got to do a better job in 2026. Meaning, if they release it in the top of 2026, release season 3 not in 2028, not in 2027. Release it at the end of 2026. Don't I hate the fact that these networks could get away with doing 10 episode series and it's supposed to stay with us for like 2 years. Like, nah, bro. Run that shit all in the same year. That's why when I do my, animation, y'all won't have to worry about that. Y'all won't have to worry about that. I'm working on having a 15 episode animation for my animation, 15 episodes, and y'all ain't gonna have to wait no 4 or 5 years, 2 years for the next season. I'm gonna be running these babies because I want y'all to, you know what I'm saying, being engaged into the storyline. So I'm currently working on my animation and my comic line, and when I do it, I'm going all out. So y'all won't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be 15 episodes. I'm debating whether I'm gonna give y'all 30 good minutes or 42 good minutes. I'm debating on that, whether it's gonna be 30 minutes or 42 minutes. Most animation series give you 22 minutes. So that 30 minutes is different. But because I can control the time, I'm thinking about giving y'all 42 minutes. So 42 minutes, 15 episodes. That's a lot of goodness. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of storyline. So when I do mine, they are getting ready to reboot Firefly. Shout out to Manu, Crips or Bloods, Florida man. Uh, shout out to Rashida. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Thank you. Manuel, no gangs. No gangs here. That's a fact. That's a fact. We don't celebrate death culture over here. We don't do that over here. Hate has a location. It's just not here. We celebrate life culture over here. So regardless of what people background, affiliations, we don't celebrate that here. We grown over here. We have a good time. And we talk about serious stuff. But we don't do that over here. All right, y'all, moving on to my next hot topic. I will say this. I'll sneak this in real quick because y'all brought it up in the chat. I did see Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, straight off the couch, being signed by the Indianapolis Colts to their practice team. I mean, if he could play, let him play. If he could play, let him play. But my first immediate reaction was, they don't have nobody else. Like, don't get me wrong. Phillip Rivers, great NFL quarterback, been one for a long time. But he's 44 years old. The last time he played, he didn't look bad. But if he plays, Indianapolis Colts, what is the expectation is my question. What is he going to do that a younger player is not going to do? What is he going to do? Does he have that much control and familiarity with the offense that he will play faster opposed to a younger guy that doesn't know it? Are y'all, because of y'all great offensive linemen, uh, y'all expecting him not to get hit at all in the pass rush? Like, what is the expectation by signing him? Is it just to finish the season? Is it to continue y'all playoff aspirations? I mean, he hasn't been playing. He's been sitting at home since COVID, and now he's 44 years old. So the age is only a factor is because he hasn't been active. He hasn't been playing in the CFL somewhere. He hasn't been playing in any other league. He's been at home. So, like, what is the expectation? They signed him to the practice team, so he's going to be practicing. Um, but he's one step closer to the game. If another guy gets hurt, he's gonna have to be the backup. Like, so I wonder what the expectation is on signing a 44-year-old quarterback in a Phillip Rivers, who is a great quarterback in his own right. Um, Colts are desperate, but I'm rooting for him, and it's going to be fun to watch an old man succeed under dog story. Uh, I hope that he doesn't get hurt. Yo, like, all right. So when you hit your 40s, I'm 41. For those who don't know, we're still every bit as strong. We still every bit as capable. The problem is, it's the bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Even when we fight, we'll knock somebody out. But tomorrow we gonna feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Fist gonna be swolly a little bit. You know what I mean? We gonna feel that shit. If you go run 10 miles, we can do it, no problem. But we're gonna feel that shit a little later on. We're gonna get a nice little hot bath. You seen Patrick Ewing in his old age, or when he got older with the Knicks, he had them. They had the like makeshift knee ice pads for Patrick Ewing. Like, so when you get to your 40s, we still every bit of capable. We still we're probably stronger in our 40s. I'm early 40s, 41. I'm very strong. And I can still be active, but I'm not as fast as I used to be. But I got a little speed on me. But I'm going to feel it a little later. You know what I'm saying? That recovery, I'm going to need the little Bengay. I'm going to need that, rejuvenation ice bath. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need that. So it's all in managing my expectations. But it's a little different for me because I stay active. I could get up and run 3 miles like that, like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. Get up and go run 3 miles because I do it regularly. So, I mean, he is a trained athlete. He's been one for years. But what is the expectation? Once he hit the floor, that 44 hit the floor. It's different from that 36 hitting the floor. That 44 hitting the floor is like, all right, dog, what y'all about to do? I'm about to get up out of here. Like, it's time to roll. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the expectations is for him, really. Could you imagine they won the Super Bowl with him? What a story that would be. Yeah, nah, I can't imagine that, bro. I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. I can't imagine that. I can't. I can't imagine that. Is it likely? No. Is it possible? Anything is possible regarding sports, anything. But is it likely? Hell no. Hell no. Would it be a good story? I probably wouldn't care too much because we've seen Tom Brady, who was what, 46, 47 when he won with Tampa Bay. So it wouldn't be like, oh, a 44-year-old won the Super Bowl when we saw Tom Brady at what, 46, 47 won one with Tampa. So that was impressive. But Tom Brady never stopped playing. He always kept playing. So that's why I think the disconnect is for me regarding that, So, all right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. My pick six is in NFL Week 14. Pick six is in. My pick six is in. Obviously, there's no college football picks. There's only a couple games this week, and it's not worthy of a pick six because there's not 6 games available. So my pick six for the NFL, and I'm going to start adding the NBA for my pick six. But and again, if you looking for a parlay, money line, I always feel like I got great picks to choose from. I'm just saying my record speaks for itself. I probably had one week where it was a disaster. But all the rest of the weeks, it was popping. It was a good time. You know what I'm saying? So my pick six for the NFL this week. First game I'm calling the Panthers versus the Saints. This game will be a better game than what people realize. This is going to be a dogfight in my opinion, but I do think the Panthers do win this game. The Saints have shown improvement. I would not be surprised if they won, but I have the Panthers winning this game. I think the Panthers have been the better team all year round. And if they want any type of real playoff push or aspirations, they have to beat the Saints in this game. Next game, I'm calling Ravens versus the Bengals. The Ravens just look sloppy all year long. They look real sloppy. They haven't had a game that made me feel like, yeah, they're back. And honestly, I'm throwing this whole year away with the Ravens. I think they're going to fire their coach and brother in John Harbaugh. And he's been the best Ravens coach ever. But I think he's probably lost his voice in the locker room. It's not resonating for some reason. And I do believe that they lose against the Bengals this week. Next game I'm calling the Cardinals versus the Titans. Again, another dogfight game. The Cardinals have been much improved ever since they put in Brissett in the game. But I still believe the Texans will win this game. Texans have been playing well. They did beat my Chiefs, I will say that. But they've been playing well, so I'm going to go with the Texans winning this game. Next game, I'm calling Bills versus the Patriots. This will be a dogfight. And mind you, this is at the Patriots. Dogfight. A lot of people have the Patriots winning this game. I have the Bills winning this game in an upset. I still believe the Bills are one of the better teams in the AFC. Patriots is right there. They right there, but they still a young team. They still learning how to play late in the season. So I have the Bills winning this game. Next game I'm calling Lions versus the Rams. Dogfight. Either way. This can go either way. But I'm going with the Lions to win this game. The Lions defense travels. Defense travels. Running game travels. I have the Lions winning this game. Next game I'm calling Packers versus the Broncos. Another game that could go either way. Both defense have played very good. Both offenses played very spotty. But Jordan Love still plays a gunslinger type of brand of football that is very scary when you're playing against higher echelon teams that doesn't beat themselves. So I have the Broncos winning this game. So my pick six for the NFL for week 14, I have the Panthers beating the Saints, Bengals upsetting the Ravens, Texans beating the Cardinals, the Bills upsetting the Patriots, Lions beating the Rams, and the Broncos beating the Packers. And that's my pick six for the NFL for week 14. Shout out to the chat. My Giants have to win this week. LOL. Panthers, Giants, Tampa Bay, Texans, Bills, Packers are my pick six this week. Man, Jameis makes it interesting, bro. I love Jameis Winston. I think honestly, if the trade line was still available, the Colts should have went after Jameis or went after Russell. They should have Russell Wilson. They should have went after either Russell Wilson or Jameis. But the Giants is not releasing any of those guys to make another team better. They like, yeah, nah, y'all figure it out. Y'all sign Phillip Rivers. You know what I'm saying? So, but Giants is interesting. But if the Giants win this week, this takes them out the race of having the number one pick. No team in the NFL plays to lose, but it would benefit y'all if y'all got another number one pick. It would benefit y'all mightily. Mightily. That's why I'm not mad at my Chiefs for having the season that we had. Mainly because it's time. It's time to refuel this machine. It's time. It's time to retool it. And as of right now, I believe we have like the 8th pick. So I'm not mad if we miss the playoffs. I'm not mad. We done went to the damn conference final for like the last decade. We played in like, what, 6 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken, or 5. Yo, let's retool this thing. It's cool. The Giants, it will benefit them if they do lose this game. It will benefit them. It would. Same thing I was saying with the Browns. But the Browns are so stupid. They're gonna be Browns and do Browns things. At the end of the season, they're gonna draft another quarterback. They're gonna use one of those picks and draft another quarterback instead of building around Shador. Instead of doing that. Clearly the boy can play. And he hasn't had much practice time. So imagine what he said, a full off season, it could get dangerous. Mind you, their draft class in Cleveland, they have the best draft class this year. It's not even close anymore. With the rise of Shador, it's not even close. It's not even close. And they got 3 picks in the first 2 rounds. So if I was Cleveland, Shador's my quarterback, Deshaun is my backup, and I can afford to have Deshaun as my backup because Shador's my quarterback. He's my 5th round quarterback, and he get paid as such. Deshaun is going to be the most expensive backup that I'm going to have if no other team wants him, which the Colts should want Deshaun because they don't have no quarterback at this point. So if no team trades for him, you're going to be an expensive backup, bro. And my 3rd string quarterback would be Dylan. And that will be my trio of quarterbacks. So my first pick, I'm taking the best player on the board if I'm Cleveland. I'm taking the free safety from Ohio. And I know I can't stand Ohio. I'm taking Caleb Downs. Can you imagine Caleb Downs on the Cleveland Browns? Can you imagine that? That defense? Can you imagine plug and play Caleb Downs to that defense? I'm taking him with my first pick. And then my second pick in that first round, there's going to be an offensive line slide in this draft. And I'm going to get me a bona fide starter in my offensive line in that first round. Second round, I'm taking a receiver. You don't have to take a first round receiver in this draft. In this draft, you don't need a first round receiver. You could get one in the second round and get first round production from that second round receiver. Trust me. I already see how this is going to play out. If I'm Cleveland, that's what I would do. Caleb Downs, give me an offensive lineman in the end of the first round, and I'm taking a receiver in the second round. But Cleveland Browns is going to do Cleveland Brown things. They're going to take Mendoza. They're going to trade away Shador. They probably trade away Myles Garrett. They're going to do Cleveland Brown things. Okay? So, all right, y'all. Moving on to our next one. My Keep the Lie Live episode. Keep the Lie Live episode. Moving on to my Keep the Lie Live. So my Keep the Lie Live for this episode is this. All relationships is built different. All relationships is built different. Nuances of relationship on how people get together, it matters. It's not cut and dry. The reason why I bring this up, because I see a lot of vitriol, a lot of hate going against Clarissa Shields and the rapper Pat Poose. I don't see that same vitriol and same energy for Pat Poose's ex-wife, which is rapper Remy Ma. They have a real public breakup. Remy Ma has a new guy. Pat Poose has a new woman. Pat Poose's woman is just known to be one of the best boxers of all time, let alone female boxers, and Clarissa Shields. And the type of vitriol that I see online for their relationship, because all they show online is them being happy. But when other people see it, they like, oh, look at the fake smile, look at the fake kisses. But you don't say that with Remy Ma and her dude. You let Remy Ma and her dude do their thing and be happy in their own world. You don't say when they smile together, that's not a real smile, that's not a real kiss. When you see them at games, that's not really them. They just doing it for the. But y'all do that with Clarissa Shields and Pat Poose. And it's so weird that you disrespect Clarissa Shields in a sense where y'all saying, oh, that's a married man. But y'all don't say that about the dude that Remy Ma seeing. Y'all don't say that's a married woman. Y'all don't say that. So it's just very weird that in relationships and how we look at it and the nuances, and when things are public, it's public. Yo, they not together. So when people say this person cheated on this person, that person, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they wasn't together and they just didn't announce it to the world. This couple announced it. And because they didn't do the public, the actual formality of being divorced, doesn't mean that they don't get to cultivate relationships with other people. And when they're ready to move forward in the business of marriage, they will handle the business of divorce. That's how that works. That's why you see a lot of people in this country separated and not officially divorced. People live separate lives, but they not officially divorced. They not the first couple to live separate lives, deal with separate people, and don't be officially divorced. And again, when you're officially on papers and ready to get on papers with somebody else of the business, because marriage is a business. It's not an act. It's not something that you do. It's a business. When you close one, when you're ready for a new business, you close the other one down. That's how that works in this country, unless you live in certain states and practice certain religions. But I digress. But in this particular instance, you don't see that same vitriol and energy for Remy Ma and her dude. And the type of disdain, and all we see is happiness and positivity with Clarissa Shields, with Pat Poose. And I seen a video where he gives her a chain, or he gives her a chain, and the women in the comments like, he not really that happy giving her that chain. That chain is not as big as the other chains that she got on, and this, that, and the third. And this symbolizes this when a man gives you this type of chain, and when he don't hug you, like, man, cut it out. Cut it out. Y'all reading into the wrong thing. When a man don't want to be with a woman that he doesn't have to be with, guess what? He won't be with her. It's just simple and plain. Simple and plain. Y'all treating Pat Poose in this example like he doesn't provide for himself. You treating Clarissa in this instance like she's a home wrecker. And again, it's not matched energy on the other side. So if y'all going to give the same grace and the same balance for Remy Ma and her dude, it should be the same thing for Clarissa and Pat Poose. And that's why our relationships are built differently. They have nuances. When something is public, it's a part of a nuance. When people are still legally married but live separate lives and they don't get the divorce for real until their new life is solidified and this is going to be a thing, nuance based. So the vitriol for both is not even, and it's a shame. And people come up with their own speculation on why this is going on, why that is going on. Let these people be happy. Let them be happy. Clarissa Shields already said, like, yo, she want to have a couple of fights and she want to settle down and have his kids. She want to have his kids, man. She got kids. She got kids. You know what I'm saying? So let them be happy, yo. And when it's time for them to get married, Pat Poose will do the divorce. And mind you, it takes 2 people to get divorced. So I'm pretty sure Remy Ma's ready to get divorced, and I'm pretty sure he's ready to get divorced. But there's a business to marriage. It's a business. And let them be happy and let them handle their business. And it's funny that majority of the people that's speaking on it don't even have their own business taken care of. I spoke about it last episode. Who's the head coach in your life? Who's the offensive coordinator in your life? Who's the DC in your life? Who stops the bullshit from happening in your life? So That's my keep the lie alive for this episode. I would respect Will Smith if he diddied Jada the way Chris Rock that he did Chris Rock. Rashida, uh, no, we do say that TGE media, but what they, what they, what up there, what up there. Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is this: either keep that same energy or give the same energy. It's either or. Can't pick and choose. And all people doing is living their life. Like I said in the last episode, nobody life is perfect. Nobody life is perfect. But when you speak on others, have your shit together. Even if it's not perfect, your life doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody life is. But we're so worried about who's the head coach in somebody else's life opposed to yours. Just saying. First, he needed to get a divorce. They need to get a divorce. Not he. They. 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 But people don't get divorced in this country until their new situation is solidified. And what that means is we're going to get married. So I'm going to get divorced. That's how that works. Because divorce is a proceeding and there's papers and there's time, it's time consuming and there's finances. And you have to figure out who's going to take on the debt of the marriage. That's the primary reason why you don't see people just openly get divorced legally, because somebody has to receive the debt of the marriage and neither person wants to. So that matters. So when people say just get a divorce, so how many people is open up to taking on more debt? Nobody. It don't work that way, right? So we got to be realistic about these things and let these people live their life at their own pace. That's the main stay of what I'm saying. Especially if they happy. Don't read into somebody else's happiness and be like, oh well, they only happy because of this or that. Like you see a woman about to get married and she got a big stupid. She only happy because she got a big ring. Well, of course she gonna be happy because she got a big ring. That's idiotic to say, right? It's like, come on, like let people be happy. Like you trying to read. Everybody trying to be mind readers. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is wild. Which is wild. But y'all been amazing as always. Thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Please, and I would appreciate it. You hit them likes, you hit them hearts, and you hit them 100s on your way out. It helps with the growth of the show, and we continue to grow each and every episode. And I want to thank y'all. We on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We a little over 12,000, y'all, which is major. And again, I really appreciate that from y'all. Seriously. This is episode 219. I am your host, Ashley Lovechild. I want to thank some of the sponsors of the podcast, OUV Records and Button Snaps. Again, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content, you can go to buttonsnaps.com. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Also, be on the lookout. Again, I've told you I'm working on my new comic universe and animation, and it's going to be so fire. I wore a t-shirt from it last episode, but it's going to be so fire. I can't wait to drop that. I'm also working on a new album, and I have some new music on my way to y'all. I'm just figuring out a different way to get y'all this music and a different listening experience, because the new updates on Spotify and Apple doesn't benefit independent artists. Also, we have a special episode coming up for the New Year's Eve, December 31st episode. That's going to be fire. That's going to be our New Year's Eve episode, awards episode, and it's going to be a subathon episode as well. That's going to be very special where the goal is 25 memberships for that episode. No, 26, because we're going to 2026. And what else we got going on? And yeah, so that's it. So And that's going to be major. So make sure y'all tune and tap in. Make sure y'all tap into the videos. We got over 500 rewatchable videos outside of the podcast on the same channel. Make sure y'all go tap in, leave comments, leave them hearts on that as well too. And remember, y'all, this is very poignant. Don't be an agent of chaos. Do not be a stain. Don't stand out for being negative. Stand out for being positive. The only op we recognize is opportunity. Hate has a location. It's just not here. And don't have it within you. Love is the only way, and y'all know me, I'm all about that. It's love. I'm going to see y'all this Sunday at 10:30. I'm out.